What's up, everyone? Marc Lobliner, CEO, MTS Nutrition, Chief Marketing Officer, TigerFitness.com, creator of the Outright Bar, as well as partner in the Ambrosia Collective and 015 Nutrition. Today, we're going to talk about the differences between biological women and biological men, regardless of transitioning. And I want to just get straight into this. I am not political anymore. This is not taking a side. In fact, I will not state, I'm not going to state matter-of-factly, or at least 100%, where my political opinion falls or my opinion falls on this matter. But you might be able to deduce where I stand from. I want to also claim I do have some biases going in. I have a 15-year-old daughter who is working her tail off, training 5+ hours a day, trying to earn herself a scholarship for college soccer and wrestling. I have 2 young male athletes who are playing as biological males, soccer and boxing. So I have skin in the game on both sides, be it male and female, with my daughter being 15, older, of recruiting age. And it's something that we have to think about, right? Now, here's what I'm concerned with. I honestly don't think there's enough transgender athletes to take over women's sports. What I do think is that, let's say there's 10 scholarships available at University X, let's say University of Miami, and 8 girls get a scholarship, but 2 girls are biological males who have transitioned to females or are just transgender. They haven't gone through the full transition. My concern is that those 2 males will take the scholarship spots as afforded by Title IX, which I think was a big breakthrough in women's sports and providing that equal opportunity for women's and men's sports to pursue their dreams, to reach their goals. And I think that if those 2 scholarships were taken away for biological males, I don't necessarily think that's fair. And I'm going to explain why. I'm not just going to say it's hormones, because as someone who takes exogenous hormones, and I am a 40-year-old man who has the hormone levels of testosterone and HGH of a 22-year-old man, obviously I know that hormones can't be manipulated. So we can't say hormone levels, because I can take my daughter and put her hormone levels up to 18-year-old boys tomorrow. I could take my son, suppress his testosterone, and make him a female. The hormone argument isn't the best one, and that's why it's easily dispelled by those in favor of transgender males competing in female sports. I'm not going to go into bone density. I'm not going to go into reaction time. I'm not going to go into any of that, although those do play a role. I want to talk about the Q angle. Now, the Q angle is the angle where the femur, which is your upper leg bone, meets the tibia, which is the lower leg bone. That's the Q angle. Now, the Q angle is greater in women. The degree of the Q angle in women is 17, whereas it's 14 degrees in men. This has been stated through data as edited by the Cleveland Clinic, a very renowned organization, right? This isn't BS data. And the reason women have a higher degree on their Q angle is because they give birth. Now, let me give you a visual demonstration. A man's hips will be straight up, straight down. I know that's kind of simplistic, but let's just say they're straight up, straight down, whereas a woman's legs will bow out more. When your legs bow out more, that means that you have increased weight, or as you will say, increased foot pronation, which makes for more stress on your knee joint. You basically have constant weight pushing on the outside of your knee. When you have more weight on the outside of your knee, when your knees bow in, that is something called valgus. Valgus is, if you've ever seen a beginner squat and they're going up and their knees kind of cave in and they push it up and they come out again, that's valgus. Valgus is essentially a very fancy yet ugly term for the caving in of your knees. When your knees cave in, that puts extra pressure on your ACL. Bada boom, bada bing, you tear your ACL. I would also like to state another statistic. 64% of females get lower limb injuries. They get lower limb injuries, whereas 46% of males. So 20% more females get lower limb injuries. For females, that's going to be ACLs. ACL tear, if I'm not mistaken, is the number one cause for career-ending injury in female soccer. It's very high in female soccer. My daughter plays soccer, and I have coached over 500 youth soccer players. I believe over 300 of those were female, 18 and under, down to about 8-9 years old. I also did coach at one point the national champion team over at Campton United, U18 national champs. So I have and I'm currently a high school coach for strength, locally here in Brentwood, Tennessee. So I work with a lot of kids. The only kids I coach on a club level are male at this point. They are U13 males. Top team, really good team. And for males, I do still do the same exercises as females. Now I want to give you a statistic, and you can mitigate a lot of this through training. There's also a plug for me as a coach because I'm proud of this. Because I got into coaching, I've never got paid one dime for coaching kids. Never accepted it. I always told them to use the money and donate it back into the club. Even if I did, one year I did a summer clinic at Campton United. We brought in thousands of dollars. I refused to get my portion of the pay, which a lot of coaches got. A lot of coaches would get money per kid. I gave that back to the club and made sure that they used it for more equipment. And that was also the last camp I coached at Campton United in St. Charles, Illinois, as directed at the time by Scott Keena and Colbert Smith. So the bottom line is, when I came into Campton United the year before, I believe we had 11 non-contact ACL tears or injuries to the ACL. The year I took over, we had 0. It went from 11 to 0. There are ways to mitigate that. For men, you get 1 or 2 here and there, generally speaking. Anecdotally, that's not an official statistic based on where I've been. ACL tears are few and far between compared to females and males. And the reason is the increased valgus and due to the Q angle for females. So my contention and my devil's advocate, if you're talking to a pro transgender and female sport advocate, is that not only do we have statistically shown differences in speed, strength, and other factors, reaction time, but also if you're playing a sport like soccer, or if you're playing a sport like rugby, if you're playing a sport like even handball, where you're running full velocity, full force at another athlete, if a male with better reaction speed and strength on average is running at a female who is slower, less reaction time with increased knee valgus, you are going to see a super high increase in knee injuries, especially ACL for females. Now, alongside that, there are fundamental differences because we need to bring it up. I forgot the name. There was that transgender New Zealand weightlifter going to the Olympics, okay? And this female lifter, this transgender female, is obscenely strong for a female. Yet as a male competitor, because he was a male at the time. I'm trying not to offend anybody. I apologize if I do. I'm trying to give you guys as much information as possible because I feel it's my duty to kind of clear this up. Because what you get in situations like this is you get the people on the right yelling one thing or the people on the left yelling one thing. Then we're not even knowing what the counter argument is. Each side just says the opposite just because they like fighting, because these politic people are fucking crazy. I'm at Tiger Fitness headquarters in Lobliner, Ohio, and look what just arrived, the blueberry crisp cashew butter outright bar. Check it out. I want to show you guys something. This is so delicious. Look at that. It is vegan too. Look at, wait. Look at that. Available now. Get yours. So what I'm getting at, the valgus and the Q angle also plays a role in leverage during lifts. It also plays a role in different angular mechanics of lifts. It also plays a role in a lot of things. And then you get into the other factors, and there is a bone density factor. There is a hormone factor. Look, guys, let me put it this way. Right now, I am still on steroids. I am on HRT. I take 200 milligrams of testosterone a week and 2 IUs of HGH 5 days a week. If I was to stop that, and I've been on it since I was 27 years old. If I was to stop for a year taking any TRT, any HRT, I would still be quite big and muscular if I maintain my training. So what I'm saying is, while you can exogenously increase your testosterone acutely, the effects through myofibrillar growth, through different things like hyperplasia, which is the division of muscle cells as is caused by HGH, the actual hypertrophy, which is known, like when you stop lifting for a while, muscle memory is real. So if you've lifted a certain amount of weight, then you stop lifting, your ability to get back up to that certain amount of weight will be much better than someone who's never lifted that weight before. Same with muscle mass. If you've reached a certain level of muscle mass, it's all about your body's ability. It's called muscle memory. And it is definitely a scientific thing. So whether the athlete is hormonally controlled through exogenous hormones, for example, testosterone suppression drugs, or estrogen pills for males transitioning to female, or testosterone for female transition in male, you're still going to have your innate male and female characteristics that will provide either a benefit or a disadvantage depending on which gender you started as and which you're going to. Likewise, for females who are on banned in the competition steroids, in competition. You had that youth wrestler in Texas who was a female transitioning to male, but when she was wrestling females, he was wrestling females because he was transitioning. When he was wrestling females, he was basically a juiced up chick beating the crap out of girls and winning state titles. When you have males, biological males, racing against females, then you have essentially, they haven't even had the surgery. Essentially, biological males with all the benefits of the testosterone throughout their early years, the bone density, the reaction time, and all that, there's a difference. So my opinion on what to do, honestly, you look at the actual viewership of the WNBA. If you look at actual soccer, now, as someone in the process, they normally don't give full scholarships for youth soccer, for female soccer. They normally don't give full scholarships for really anything but football. They'd rather take their scholarship money and give 50% scholarships to a bunch of people. I'm not really worried about my daughter losing a scholarship, but I can say that because, I have stuff. Like I've done well for myself. So I'm not really concerned. And I live in the great state of Tennessee, where we have something called the Promise Act. And the first 2 years of college, community college, are free in Tennessee, which is actually what I prefer anyway. So I'm not really mad at it from a personal standpoint. Frankly, look, man, this isn't something that is, so to speak, affecting me. I can imagine why a bunch of females would be mad. But I've kind of come to the conclusion that if this is a bad decision, females will get really mad and speak up. If women start losing scholarships, if a soccer mom from Franklin, Tennessee, if little Becky doesn't get a scholarship because transitioning Betty does, then they're going to get rid of it. They're going to protest, they're going to speak up, and they're going to get rid of it. Because it just seems like we can't argue this logically anymore. It becomes a political football, a nuclear political football, where all rational thought is out the door. I would like nothing more than to just go, hey, based on science, there are two biological genders. Not saying there are only two genders. Look, man, you can identify as, I really don't care. I don't care if you want to, again, like, I've never met anyone who does care. If someone wants me to call them a a female, I don't care. I'm not going to cup check you. I don't care. The issue is, fairness in sports. Again, man, this isn't a governmental thing. I believe this is an organizational thing. Just like, for example, in natural bodybuilding, you have natural bodybuilding organizations like the ANBF that allows HRT, like the NPC naturals that allow HRT. Then you have the OCB and the BNBF, which do not allow HRT. So if the NCAA allows transgender athletes, or the Olympics allow transgender athletes, then maybe it's time to form other organizations like they did in natural bodybuilding. For example, drugs are allowed in bodybuilding. Where I became pro as a bodybuilder, they didn't drug test us. Everybody was on steroids. So what happened is guys like Matt Shepley, like all the guys who started these organizations, Matt Shepley started the OCB, Ken Beerley with the ANBF, Vicky McCann with the BNBF. All these people are like, wait a second, where do us natural people compete? And so they formed their own organizations. And I'm not one of those guys who if something goes wrong, airlines force you to wear masks, I'm going to start your own airline. I'm not that guy. I'm really not. But it's a game. I understand that people with daughters might not think it's fair. And honestly, I'm not too happy about it. From a dad whose daughter is working her tail off, and there is a distinct biological advantage for males based on just the Q angle alone. But what am I going to do? We're sitting here arguing, and God forbid I have a view that isn't aligned with a certain political perspective. I'm automatically called transphobic. I'm called racist. For some reason, this is racist. I'm called a xenophobe for some reason. And honestly, you just get to a point where you're tired of being called names because they don't make sense. We can't have these logical, scientific conversations. For example, on this very YouTube platform, I questioned the doctor whose last name rhymes with Aussie. And they literally struck my video and gave me a warning on my account. I can't voice my opinion. And if I'm struck down for voicing my opinion on that, then it prevents me from helping people with things like knee valgus. It prevents me from doing videos where I'm helping people with their diet, with their training. So you're forced to not say stuff. And we're being censored. And we got to ask ourselves, why are we being censored? Honestly, I think it's a discussion that needs to be had. We need to talk about these things. We need to talk about these issues like masks and like vaccines. And we need to have the most absurd viewpoints on both sides come together. And we need to figure out and educate each other on what's going on. But unfortunately, we can't do that anymore. And I know this video is going to offend somebody. And I hope that I came off as scientifically as possible in explaining what the Q angle is. Look, guys, honestly, my thought, I don't care. I'm done. Look, man, sports, it's a game. I just don't care. Once you start hindering people's ability to get work based on their color, creed, nationality, religion, whatever, that's when I have a problem. But it's a game. And both sides are running with it, and all I have is the data. And the data says that biologically, men and women are different. If you are okay with people with literal scientific differences competing against each other, mix them all up, biological and transgender athletes. And if the majority agrees with it, what am I going to do? I don't know. What do you guys think? Comment down below. I know I'm kind of wishy-washy about this, but man, it's frustrating when we can't discuss things and not offend people. Discussion and dissent and disagreement are the reason the First Amendment exists. It's the reason why this country is great, or was, is our ability to get with each other, discuss things, enlighten each other, and form new opinions. Let me know your thoughts. Comment down below. That's not a game. Cauliflower pizza. I gotta admit, I'm one of those guys who said, if you're gonna eat pizza, eat real pizza. But Flex Pro Meals has not done me wrong. 20 carbs, 55 protein, 30 fat for y'all keto types. I'm gonna throw it in the microwave and we're gonna try this bad boy out. Flexing with the microwave, y'all. I'm ready to try it. It smells good. I wish y'all could smell this, but unfortunately, you know, my boy Steve Jobs died before he could figure that function out on the iPhone. So here comes the dog. Ruckus, you want? I would like some of that cauliflower pizza. I'll try. I'll be a taste tester. All right, here goes. That was him talking, by the way. I'm not weird. Look, it's actually cut into little pieces. So what we're gonna do is, I don't want to burn my mouth, so we're gonna pause this. I'm gonna come back to you in about 2 minutes. This actually, I have this nifty little spatula. Look how perfect, it was made for this. So here we go. So I'm gonna try this, all right? So look, it actually resembles a pizza, and it actually holds like a pizza. Oh my God. They actually did it. They made a low-carb pizza. This is amazing, guys. Anyway, flexpromeals.com. Coupon code Lobliner saves you some cash. And try this pizza. This is good.